When Nazi Germany invaded Yugoslavia in April 1941, the Kingdom of Yugoslavia collapsed in just 11 days. What followed was not merely foreign occupation but a systematic dismemberment of the country by the Axis powers, Germany, Italy, Hungary and Bulgaria, alongside the rise of local fascist collaborators. The invasion and occupation unleashed a brutal wave of repression, genocide, and civil war that tore the Yugoslav state apart and ignited long-lasting ethnic and political tensions. The fall of Yugoslavia. April 1941. Yugoslavia's fall came swiftly after a German-led Axis invasion on April 6, 1941. The country was politically fragile, with deep divisions among its Serb, Croat, Slovene, Bosniak and Macedonian populations. After a coup ousted the pro-Axis Yugoslav government in late March, Adolf Hitler retaliated with full military force. Belgrade was bombed relentlessly in Operation Punishment. Axis forces attacked from all directions, including German divisions from Austria and Bulgaria, Italian troops from Albania, and Hungarian units from the north. By April 17, the Yugoslav army surrendered. The royal family and government fled into exile. A nation dismembered. The Axis powers quickly partitioned Yugoslavia into zones of control and puppet states. Germany took direct control of northern Serbia and vital infrastructure. Italy annexed parts of Dalmatia, Montenegro, and Kosovo. Hungary seized northern Vojvodina and parts of Croatia. Bulgaria occupied most of Macedonia and southeastern Serbia. The most devastating development was the creation of the Independent State of Croatia, NDH, a Nazi puppet state ruled by the fascist Ustaše regime under Ante Pavelić. Brutality and genocide. The Ustaše regime initiated a policy of ethnic cleansing and genocide, primarily targeting Serbs, subjected to forced conversions, mass executions and deportations. An estimated 300,000 to 500,000 Serbs were killed. Jews and Roma. Nearly all Croatian Jews and tens of thousands of Roma were murdered or deported to death camps. Political opponents. Communists, partisans and anyone opposing the regime faced torture and execution. The Jasenovac concentration camp became a symbol of Ustaše's terror, often called the Auschwitz of the Balkans. In German-occupied Serbia, mass reprisals were common. For every German soldier killed by resistance, 100 Serbs were executed, an order issued by the Nazi military. Rise of resistance and civil war. The destruction of Yugoslavia gave rise to fierce resistance, but also a civil war within a war. The Chetniks, led by royalist Serb officers, initially resisted the Axis but later collaborated with them in some regions to fight their rivals. The Partisans, led by communist leader Josip Broz Tito, promoted a multi-ethnic resistance and waged relentless guerrilla warfare against the Axis and collaborators. By 1943, the Partisans had become the dominant resistance force, gaining Allied recognition and support. Their military victories and political vision positioned them to take power after the war. Total war and civilian suffering. From 1941 to 1945, Yugoslavia endured one of the deadliest and most chaotic occupations in Europe. Over 1 million people died, including hundreds of thousands of civilians. Cities and villages were destroyed in Nazi reprisals and partisan counterattacks. Ethnic hatreds fueled by occupiers and collaborators intensified the violence and laid the groundwork for post-war grievances. Yugoslavia became a tragic case of how foreign invasion and internal division could turn a nation into a battlefield of ideologies and identities. Liberation and aftermath. By late 1944, Tito's partisans and the Soviet Red Army had liberated most of Yugoslavia. The monarchy was abolished, and in 1945 the Federal People's Republic of Yugoslavia was declared under Tito's leadership. However, the legacy of the occupation, including the memory of genocide, betrayal and internecine warfare, would haunt the region for decades and resurface violently during the Yugoslav wars of the 1990s. The Nazi occupation of Yugoslavia did more than conquer a country. It destroyed a fragile state, ignited genocidal violence, and sparked a brutal resistance that doubled as a civil war. It was a defining tragedy of the Balkans in the 20th century, one that forever altered the course of Yugoslav history.